Hey everybody, this is Alex Merced from alexmercedcoder.com, and what I'm going to do today is build another Express API, except this one's going to have two two Mongo models. So essentially we're going to create two related items and just kind of show you how a relationship could work and a little bit even more robust sort of folder structure. So I'm going to use my MVC boiler. Okay, this is my Express boilerplate. And if you want to use this boilerplate, you can just head over to my GitHub profile. So github.com/AlexMercedCoder. Head over to my profile page, go to projects, and you'll see boilerplates by Alex Merced. And in the linked repositories, okay, pretty much right here, you can see all my boilerplates. Okie dokie. So that's useful. There we go. Let's go over here and you can see all the linked repositories. Cool. Now with that, and then you can fork it, clone it, do your thing. Okay. So I'm going to make a copy of my boilerplate here. Copy. Paste it. I'm going to call this Project 8 or Test 8. And essentially, this is what's inside the boilerplate. So I'm going to go head over to my server.js real quick, which is your pretty standard. If you've seen me do these videos before, you kind of know the drill. The only big difference is that the Mongoose connection isn't necessarily done in my server.js. So as you see here, I'm pulling it in from a separate file. So here in the DB folder, I have the database connection all set up. Okay, so basically here in the database thing, I bring in Mongoose, and actually, do I need to bring in all of this? I don't think I need to bring in Express. So I can get rid of Express here. There we go. And I don't need .env twice. There we go. But I just basically bring in Mongoose, set up my URI and config variable, make the connection, and export the already connected Mongoose object. So that then gets imported over here to my server.js. And the rest is pretty straightforward. Okay. And then I create the DB object. Create a little event for when we error, so that way it says Mongo error if there's an error. Here's my cores configurations. So once you go to production and you want to start using the cores whitelist, there it is. And then just because the cores middleware, whenever I try to whitelist localhost, it doesn't quite work the way I would like it to work. So what I've done is I have this line right here, which when you set your node environment here in your .env, if it's set to development, it'll just let all traffic in there. Okay, that's just what this line does, and otherwise you're just your basic middleware. So you have your app.use express JSON, you have your Morgan logging, and you have a public folder. Wonderful. And that's pretty much it. Okay, so there we go. Our server's set. So what we're going to be doing is creating two models, pizza and pizza toppings. So I guess always the place to start out is with your models. So I'm going to go in here, create a new file. Actually, the best way to do this is I'm going to create a new file called index.js. So this way I can import all my models at the same time. Actually, let me think if that's going to be necessary for this particular project. I'll just do them both here. So I'm going to do a toppings.js for the toppings model. And when we create a model, we want to bring in Mongoose, import, or no, const require, const schema model. So we're going to destructure schema and model, and do that from the require Mongoose Cool, we'll bring that in. Then do const new schema. No wait, const topping schema equals new schema. And it's just gonna have two properties, which are the name of the topping, which is gonna be a string, and whether it's a vegetarian topping, which will be a boolean. That'll be it. And then what we're going to do is we are going to what am I looking for? Well, we're going to create a new model. So const topping equals model, and we're going to save this in the topping collection, and it's going to be using the topping schema, which we will then export. There we go. Okay, so there's our schema. Then once we have our model, we need our controllers, our basically our function handles. So new file, topping.js. Actually, toppings.js, so they all match. So here we need to bring in our schema. So const toppings equals require dot dot, go up the folder, then back down into models / toppings.js. Cool. And let's see, anything else I want to bring in here? I think that's all I need. And then we just create our CRUD routes plus a seed. Okay, so first we'll create our index route, which allows us to get all the toppings. So const index equals rec res request and response, and const request and response, and this one will be pretty straightforward. Return, and then I want to make this async so we can make this even more succinct. Await, async, and then it's going to be return await toppings dot find. That's going to find all the toppings. And actually, it's not return. I'm not returning anything. It's res.json. And res.json, we're going to there we go. Then we're going to have the create route. Const create equals async rec res res.json await toppings.create, and we're going to pass in the new topping via the request body, so rec.body. Okay, and then we're going to have the update route to update const update equals async rec res. Okay, and then it'll be res.json await toppings.update. We'll receive the ID, not update, find by ID and update. And the ID we're going to get from params, so rec.params.id. And then we are going to pass in the request.body again. And that'll update the pizza topping. Then we're going to have our destroy function, const destroy equals async rec res res.json await toppings find by ID and delete, and again we'll get the ID from params rec.params.id. Okay, so those are our main CRUD routes that we need for our front-end application, and then I'm going to have a seed route. Const seed equals async rec res okay, and we're going to be having a set of data here. So I'm going to do const data we haven't created yet, equals require, and that's going to be in the model data folder. So up data / toppings.js. Okay, and res.json await toppings.create. And we're passing in the array of toppings data, and then that's it. Okay, there we go. Then we export all these things. Module.exports equals index create update destroy seed. Then we create the routes. So then I head over to the routes folder to make our routes. And then I'm going to make another toppings.js. Okay, and in this toppings.js, we're going to bring in the function. So const index create update destroy and seed equals require up one folder / controllers / toppings. And that's all good. So that brings in the functions, but then I need express. So const router equals require express, and then we're gonna make a new router. So const router equals router, and then we make our routes. So we're gonna make our index route. So that's gonna be router.get. That's gonna be for the root, and that's gonna use the index function. And then we're going to have the create route. That's going to use the router.post. And that's also going to be /. And that's going to use the create function. Then we're going to have the update route, router.put. And that's going to have the ID param. And that's going to have update. Then we're going to have the destroy route, router.delete. Again, an ID param. And we use the destroy function. And then we're going to have the seed route, where it's going to be a get, router.get to /. /seed, and that's going to take the seed function. And there we go. Then I will export the router. Module.exports equals router. Okay, and that's all set. And then I'm just going to bring that into my server.js. So scroll back up here, bring that in there, const toppings router equals require. And since this is a folder up, we can just do dot slash routes slash toppings.js. Then we configure the router down here. We're going to say, hey, app.use, whenever a URL ends in topping or toppings, then we will use the toppings router. Cool. Okay, so that's all set. Last thing we need to do is create our seed data, and this is good to go. And we can test this out. So let's create our seed data. So I'm going to go over here, make it toppings.js. And all we're going to do here is export an array, module.exports. And it's going to be an array of objects. And again, all pizzas have name. Pepperoni. And is it vegetarian? False. I'll put a comma at the end, and I'm just going to copy this several times. There we go. So sausage, chicken, pork, I can't spell prosciutto, so let's do something else. Let's do pastrami as a topping. Okay. Then we'll have broccoli, which is vegetarian. Then we will have pineapple, which is vegetarian. We will have spinach, which is vegetarian. We will have onions, which is vegetarian. Peppers, which are vegetarian. Artichokes, true, and avocado. Okay, so that's a pretty good seed. So save. Cool. Now let's go run the server and test this out. Okay, so again, just to kind of see the flow again. Essentially, our model defines our models, which then gets imported into our controllers, which sets up the functions, which then gets imported into routes and sets up the routes, which then gets imported into server.json or .js. The data has our seed files, which contain our data initial data, and then that gets imported into controllers, where I have the function to seed. So server.js. Let's actually open up the terminal, open integrate terminal, and do an npm nodamon server.js. Oh, it's complaining about. Oh, yeah, no. Nodamon server.js. Let's see here. .env. Where did I forget .env? In server.js? Did I not install it? Let's take a look at my package.json. It says I installed it. Oh, I have to do an npmi. I forgot. I have it on my package.json, but I deleted the node modules folder so I can push it up to GitHub. So let's install everything. There we go. So that's connected. Let's head over here and let's try it out. localhost 3000 slash toppings slash seed. And that should give me back all the toppings I just seeded. Oh, wait. Oh, it's 3002, isn't it? Because it says so. 3002, port 3002. So I'm going to go back over here, change that URL. And there we go. So see, we've made all this. I'm going to leave this open because we're going to need it when we get to pizza to refer to. But yeah, so there we go. We've created all the toppings. Very nice. Now if I open this up in another browser, if I actually just get rid of seed and say, hey, get me all the toppings, see, now it gets me all the toppings. The get route works. Cool. So that certainly saved us some time and having to enter those in manually. Cool, 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 cool. Now, next, I want to create pizzas. So we can create individual pizzas. So let me just close all these files. Okay, and we're going to just go through the same process. So I'm just going to go to the models, and I'm going to just duplicate these files, copy, paste, rename to pizza.js. And so this time it'll be pizza schema. And yes, still a name. But now it's going to have a property called toppings, which is an array of type. It's object with object ID. Okay, so let's do this. So it should be schema dot type dot object ID. It's object ID. I always like to Google that. Let's see here. Schema dot types dot object ID. Double check. Let's see here. Object ID. Okay. Types, uppercase types. Types dot object ID. There we go. That looks correct. And then we have to put like a ref, so that way it knows what table it's referring to. And just to double check, it's topping. Topping. We'll find out if that works later on. Okay. And let's see here. So that's that. Again, now we're talking about pizza. And the model's going to be find pizza. And we're going to use the pizza schema. And then we'll export to pizza. Cool. So there's the pizza model. And just like before, now I need to create a pizza controller. So I'll just copy and paste the toppings one. Copy. Paste. Okay, and let's see here. Toppings, data. This is all going to be pizza now. Let me just make sure that I called it pizza.js. Yep, pizza.js. Let me just rename this. Rename pizza.js. This is going to be pizza.js. Oh, Control Z. Pizza. Pizza. The only one that's going to be a little bit more complicated is going to be this index one. So first, we're going to do const all pizzas. Okay, all pizzas equals await dot await. This needs to be pizza. Await pizza dot find all the pizzas, and then it should be const all pizzas dot populate. Or do I have to loop over the pizzas and do that? Let's see here. Populate. Let's see here. Ref, yep, we have that set up. One. Populate, path, friends. Find one. Dot populate, path, friends, populate. Path, friends. Populate lets you get a list of users' friends, but with that, friends of friends. Populate the friends array of all users' friends. Okay, so let's do that. Dot populate. So we can just do all pizzas dot populate. Path. In this case, it's topping. Just double check models. Toppings. Yep. So basically, what this is doing here is we're getting all the pizzas, and then we're getting all the pizzas to populate their toppings based on the IDs that are stored there. And then there should be a wait. So const all pizzas 2 equals await okay. Find one. That's all good. And then, yeah, we're just gonna send back that. All pizzas 2. Okay, and then that should do that. The rest should be the same. Pizzas. So pizza. 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 Okie dokie. And let's see if I just forgot any of those. Nope. That all looks good to me. Then we will export to routes. Copy. Paste. Toppings. So this will become pizza.routes. Rename. Pizza.routes. Except now this is going to be imported from pizza here. Pizza.js. And let me see if there's anything here I want to change. Nope, that all looks good to me. Nowhere does I mention toppings, so that's good. And then we bring that into our server here. So I'll just copy this. And this becomes the pizza router. And it's pizza.js. Okay, what's it complaining about? Can't find module data.pizza because I haven't made it yet. So let's make that copy, paste, and let's rename that pizza.js for data. And let's make some pizzas. So first let's do the first pizza. So the first pizza will just be pepperoni. And then it's toppings. Let me just take a look at the model again. Model for the pizza, it's toppings. Good. Okay, back to pizza.js. Toppings. And then we just need an array of IDs. Luckily I have all the IDs right over here, so let's find pepperoni. Where did I put it? Here it is. Pepperoni this is the ID, so let's copy that. Okay, and then that's good for there. We'll just make a bunch of one topping pizzas just for the sake of time. So we'll have a chicken pizza. A pastrami pizza. We will have a fajita pizza, that we'll have 2. And we will have a pineapple pizza. And then what happens here, we go to plus. So first let's go get each of these. Pastrami is this, so let's add pastrami, Control C. This is the pastrami pizza. And then we need the chicken. So let's look for chicken. Oh, there's pineapple, so I'll use pineapple. Okay, pineapple. Okay, then we have peppers, which is going to go on the fajita pizza. Let's copy that. And the fajita pizza will also have onions. And then we'll also have chicken on the fajita pizza. Let's find the chicken. So we'll use this for the chicken. And we'll also use this for the fajita pizza. Good, and then I think the only one left. No, I think we got them all. Good. Okay, so there's our seed data. Save. And our server's currently running, isn't it? Yep. So now we should be able to seed the pizzas. Go back to the browser. Oh, wait, one moment. Now I think about it. I don't think I set up the... So I got the pizza router, but I don't think I've used it yet. So I got it down here. App.use /pizza, and anytime we have a /pizza URL, we are going to use the pizza router. There we go. Now I'm just going to go right over this and use localhost 3002 /pizza /seed. Okay, good. That has all been seeded. So you can see when I seed it, all we see are the IDs because we're just creating the record. Now let's try to get them and see if that get route works. Oh, that doesn't look good. Okay, so let me go re-examine that route. Now let's take a look at my server here. It's not a function. Okie dokie, I think I know what happened here. Okie dokie. Let's see here. Pizza.controllers over here. The reason is I think Populate only works on an individual pizza. This is an array of pizzas. So I need to adjust this. So this is going to have to be... So we're going to say await dot... let's do this. Promise dot all. And then we're going to have an await pizza or all pizzas dot map. And so for each individual pizza, what it's going to do is return pizza await, and each of these will be an async function. So I gotta do that. Async. Await pizza dot populate path topping. And let me just check over here. Topping models topping. Okay, back to controllers, pizza. So the idea here is that it's going to wait for all the promises within this command here. So first, we're waiting. So it's a lot of promises to resolve because it has to populate each individual pizza, then map it over to a new array, and then we're going to return that array. So let's see if that works. And I want to await that. So this is a lot of awaiting. Okay, so let's not use that there. Let's see what happens. It says it doesn't, so I will let that go. Save. Let's try it out again. So pizzas, refresh. Okay, it's getting the pizzas. Oh no, these are toppings. Oh no, that's right, this is the pizza. Okay, so there's the pizza, but the object IDs are not populating at the moment. I think what I need to do is this. Populate. Back over here. User. Actually, let's take a look at my console. Anything in the console? No. Okay, so that took longer than I care to admit, but I got that working. Okay, so let me walk you through what I just did. Okay, so what happened was, okay, so one thing you want to make sure to do just to make life a little bit easier is when you're doing your models, basically this is a string name for how you refer to the model. Usually it'll create a collection of the same name, but if you want to be 100% sure you know what the collection name is going to be, you can actually set a third argument in model, which actually sets a specific name for the collection that the model will be saved in. So that I did that for pizzas and for toppings. Okay, and then I made the model names capitalized, so that way this refers explicitly to topping. Okay, and then in my pizza controllers, just so I can diagnostic, what I did is I passed into populate. So basically now I did it all initially. So await pizza.find, then chain.populate, again path to the toppings field, and then I did this options thing. So that way, if it came back null, it would actually put null instead of nothing. So that way I knew if there was like an error. And then so then what I did is I reset my database. I rebuilt my database, ran the seeds again, and I couldn't get it to work. And then after about half an hour, I realized that every time I was seeding the toppings had new IDs. So that means my pizza data that I set up, my seed data, was all wrong because all these IDs would change every time I reseeded toppings. So once I realized that, everything was just fine and working. So there you go. So we got pizzas. Okay, so the API is working. You know, we can add pizzas. The only other thing I did change is that now when we add, so if I go back to the pizza controllers, I added a line to the create. So that way, so basically the IDs that we pass in, I just made sure to explicitly turn them into Mongoose IDs. So I just passed them into this. So basically I'm just saying, hey, that string that you passed as an ID, make that explicitly an ID by passing them into this function. And that turns them into an actual Mongoose ObjectId object. So I just added that. So that's just that one line. I did the same thing for update. And yeah, that was the deal there. So otherwise, this is good. This is all set to go. Let's see here. Should we do to? Yeah, no, that's pretty good. So it all works. Yeah, so the API is done. So then you would just create a front end. But hopefully, that makes life easier for you guys who are watching this video and trying to understand how to create Express APIs that have relationships. So again, if you want to create a direct relationship, and this is again not a Mongo feature, it's a Mongoose feature. So technically Mongo has no idea that you've created a relationship between these two models. Mongoose, again, that layer you're using to connect, is the one who's actually managing the relationship. Since you told Mongoose in your models, in your schema, that this is a type of schema object ID, it's Mongoose that says, okay, well, this schema says that this field, which is really to Mongo just a field of strings, an array of strings, says, okay, each of these strings is supposed to be an object ID. Go look at the topping model for the right thing. So then it looks for the schema, the table that has a schema called topping. And then again, based on the schema that was passed in, it'll look for the resulting collection that's stored in, and then start matching up those IDs and then placing those objects in the end result. So that way you have something like this, where here I have a pizza, and then I have my toppings that actually show the individual. So again, it's a pepperoni pizza that has toppings, and then I can go to here. This is the fajita pizza that has peppers, onions, and chicken, etc. And you get these nice, fully robust objects. And then we can use it to feed our front end. Cool. I'll see you guys in a bit.